All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Yeah.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you are listening to Bullsheet. You are sitting here right now with the one and only Rob Scott of Rob's 2 Cents, and obviously, I am Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic. We appreciate you guys tuning in to Bullsheet from the All Sports, All Plays Network, Episode 2 from Hawaii. Rob Scott, how are we feeling today?
Hey, aloha. What's going on, everybody, man? Mike, how you feeling, my brother?
Man, not as good as you. Not as good as you, bro. I know you got the waves, you got the water, you with the fam. I mean, it's got to be great right now. So no one cares how I'm doing in the Shy. How is Hawaii? What have you been up to, bro?
Man, Hawaii is beautiful. You know, I'm still trying to get the travel off me. It takes a lot to get here. I tell you that much, man.
100%.
You know, we had a 5-hour layover and all that, but we finally here, me and the wife, you know, on the beach watching the sunrise this morning, you know, just ate some breakfast. But you know I'm dedicated. It's 9:41 here in the morning. I'm dedicated. Me and my Q, we know we just getting started, baby. We take no breaks. We here, baby. Now we need the Bulls to work just as hard as us.
100%, but honestly, I don't see that happening, bro. I don't see that happening. But before we get into anything, I do want to say really quickly, and we're going to have Rob Scott in the next couple of weeks rocking it as well. This episode is always sponsored by Bench Mob Chicago. Bench Mob Chicago does amazing things for Chicago Bulls history and Chicago Bulls fans. They make amazing merch like this. On the back is a sick back of the bull. The bull head, it's super sick. They make beanies, hats, t-shirts, everything you could ever want. Go on benchmob.com to get that today, or Bench Mob Chicago on Facebook, Instagram, or any social media platform. They got all the up-to-date Chicago Bulls. They do dope things like Mobber of the Night. Andre Drummond's won it a couple nights in a row. Gordon Dragic has as well. already getting in and acclimated into being some of the best bench Bulls players. That was a little tongue twister on that one.
I know, right?
But some of the best bench Bulls players, they be going crazy. Kobe, Io, everybody wins it. Everybody gets a turn. So we appreciate them for always sponsoring Mike on the Mic, always sponsoring Bullsheet, and soon to be sponsoring Rob's 2 Cents. Super excited about it. But Rob, we got to talk about it. We're going to get right into it. Before we talk about the games as a whole, because I know we're going to talk about the games individually.
Yeah.
The 1 and 2 start for the first 3 games of the first week of the NBA season for you. How did you see it going and versus how it really played out? Did you expect to be 1 and 2 right now?
No, no, I'm not. Especially the teams we played after we beat Miami. I thought we would definitely have some momentum. I could see a 1 and 2 start if we lost to Miami.
Right.
Because they had our number all last season. I know this year is this year, but Miami's they're still searching through some demons themselves. But I thought after the Bulls beat Miami, we will have a hell of a start, and to lose to Washington the next game, that sucks. So I didn't see this coming. Especially after beating Miami, and it is disappointing almost. It's they got to get it together, brother. How you feeling about it?
Man, I thought we were going to be 1 and 2. I really did. I thought we were going to be 1 and 2, but I definitely thought we were going to beat the brakes off of Washington. I did not see. I was watching this game, and I hear a lot of Bulls fans talking about, and I also heard the NBA kind of address it, that DeMar DeRozan did have a game-winning potential shot that didn't get called. It was a foul, and he would have went to the rim, and I believe he would have went for 3, and that would have sealed the game. But it shouldn't have came down to that. It shouldn't have came down to that whatsoever. And obviously, I've been telling you the Spider is one of my MVP candidates going into the year. And he's been going crazy. So him, Garland, I felt like Cleveland would have had our number early, just because, I didn't know Zach's availability. Lonzo's not there. Stuff like that factors into it. But Miami, like you said, had our number. Miami and Philly had our number all last
season.
All the last few years, to be completely honest.
Unless you want to be honest.
Yeah, if you want to be honest, they've been busting our ass. This isn't the first walk in the park. So I definitely saw 1 and 2, but I definitely didn't think we'd get our ass busted by Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. I mean, what are we talking about here? And Rob, I know we're not gonna. This isn't a Washington podcast, but Porzingis looked nice.
You know what? Washington, they're playing loose, no pressure. I think for them, a successful season is seeing the play in. Right. So they playing like there's no pressure at all. And honestly, Washington, they've been looking pretty good. Kyle Kuzma look like he's finally starting to get in his zone. And sooner or later, Bradley Beal is gonna start cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, he's gonna start cooking. We can't forget, in route of Steph Curry winning the scoring title one year, he had to see Bradley Beal. Right. We know what Bradley Beal can do. So, like you said, it's not a Washington podcast, but it's a few teams out there that I like in the East that hell, even the Magic has been shocking.
100%. Oh man, Pablo's been going crazy. I mean, everybody's been doing their thing but us. But getting into game 1, you tip it off. The Bulls beat the Heat 116 to 108 without Lonzo Ball. And shockingly, we found out, we were actually going live the day it happened, finding out that Zach LaVine would not be playing in this game. Rob, for you, what did the Bulls do so well in order to get this win without 2 of their backcourts?
Look, I feel like, shout out to our sponsor, Bench Mob, because that's exactly what we saw in the first game. We saw the Bench Mob stand up. I mean, the Bulls, one of their strengths to me, when they're clicking as a team, they can hit you in waves. The starting 5 is good. And even with LaVine and Lonzo being out, they still had enough firepower, even from the guard position, to just hit you over and over and over again. It showed tremendous heart. And I thought that was going to set the tone for our defense.
Right.
And unfortunately, in the next 2 games, as we will talk about, that has not been the case. But in game 1 against Miami, I saw a Bulls team that looked like they want to actually get out of the first round of the playoffs this year.
Without a doubt. You saw a fight. Like, you saw dogs. And to go over, I know it's super boring for most people, but I know my guy Stat Guy's in there right now going over the first game. DeMar in 36 minutes at 37, 9, and 6. DeMar DeChosen.
Game one. That's how you come out. You know.
We had and this is in no order, but we had Patrick Williams 4-0 and 2 and 28. Defense was decent. Nikola Vucevic had an outstanding performance, 15, 2 and 17 and 33. Last year he had 44 double-double, so he's just building right back on that, doing his thing. Io 17, 4 and 6 and 36 with a couple big threes.
Io been hooping.
A couple big threes too. I still think
Io been hooping.
he's a little too passive for me. I want to see him get to the rim a little bit more, but I know that's his game. Caruso 6-4 and 5 and 30. Kobe White 10-0 and 2 and 25. Dragic, he went 4 for 5 from 3. I mean, the dude was a dog. 12, 2 and 0 and 19. Javonte Green 6-1 and 3 and 18. And Andre Drummond, the man we knew was gonna come out hooping.
The big penguin.
9-1 and 5 and 15. I mean, Rob Scott, for you, and let's talk about the new guys, Dragic and Drummond being acclimated into this offense and this defense for you.
Yeah.
How big was that in beating Miami? I mean, 4 for 5 from 3. And me and you talked about it. We do not have a three-point shooter, a legitimate three-point shooter. But Dragic has been putting in that work, and he's really showing out. We'll get into the other games later, but for you, how is your instinct on the first 2 games or the first 3 games for them?
You know what? As far as Drummond and Dragic, you know, consistency is going to be the key. I think that's always been the thing that's eluded them in their careers. We know that they have games where they go crazy, but consistency is the key. But that pick and roll between those guys is amazing. You know, Drummond getting a couple easy dunks at the rim. You know, Dragic able to weave, and you know he's a snaky point guard. He can weave through the lanes. You know, get through traffic, and he can finish at the rim. So you know, having a veteran force like those two on your team, you know, it's just a matter of them wanting to win. And we know what Dragic can do, as we've alluded to many times before. Miami in the finals, you know, they started to go downhill when Dragic got injured. You know, he was the leading scorer on that team. So we know Dragic can get buckets, and just a matter of keeping Andre Drummond's head in the game. So, you know, I like these guys. The guy that's been disappointing me the most, we talked about this a little backstage, Patrick Williams, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, you haven't even gotten over 5 rebounds in the 3 games that we've played. Like, you're there for defense and rebounding. We know that you can score, but that wasn't the reason you was drafted to the Chicago Bulls. And the fact that you know you're getting bullied down there in the paint, you know, been such a lack of defense from that guy. How do you feel about Patrick Williams and the lack of game that he's been showing so far this season?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that was definitely our next transition too. I wanted to hit on it quick because it's something that I feel like before we get into the next 2 games, you know, you have to address the number 1 guy. I mean, here's my thing about Pat, especially when Zach was out. You know, not only, and I think we can all agree, every Bulls fan, any NBA fan can agree, when Zach, Lonzo, Vooch, and DeMar are on the court, Pat can be the 5th option. There's no problem. That's not a problem. When Lonzo's out, when Zach is out, and Vooch is focusing on defensive presence, and obviously Vooch was getting as more boards than anybody. He was outboarding everybody as a whole on both teams. So
hey, Vooch been showing me something this season.
Vooch is listening though. Vooch knows he's on a contract year. Vooch understands, you know, the trade talks for what's his name? DeAndre Ayton. He heard all that. You can't tell me he didn't. And if you actually follow him on Twitter, he actually talked so much shit this summer, talking about, oh, I didn't know I was getting traded. Oh, I didn't know I was going. He felt it, and I feel like he's showing that out right now. Now, here's the thing about Patrick Williams, where I feel like, you know, I understand the situation, but being a top 4 pick, this is year 3. I understand year 2. I understand the first year was kind of weird, but this is year 3. And one of the biggest things about that, you look at the teams that took ahead of him. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking. I don't remember the exact order, but if I'm not mistaken, it went Anthony Edwards to Minnesota, it went James Wiseman to Golden State, and then it went LaMelo Ball to the Charlotte Hornets. And I think all 3 of those guys, aside from Wiseman, and obviously because the great Steph Curry and Jordan Poole, you know, he's not the face of the franchise, but he is the face of the future. And you look at LaMelo Ball as the face of the franchise. Anthony Edwards is the face of the franchise. James Wiseman's one of the best young centers they have, and he's their future center of the future. And you look at, and already, I understand he didn't do anything. Already an NBA champion. So it's definitely something right now. It holds stock. That number 4 spot, Rob Scott, the drop-off is insane with Patrick.
It is.
It's
well, I said, one of the things that pissed me off about that year in the draft is, Patrick Williams played off the bench in
Right.
college.
At Florida State or at is it Florida State or Florida
I think it
University?
was it was it was Florida something,
Yeah, Florida
and
is
and and the thing is, if you're gonna draft somebody that high, you're gonna have a number 4 pick in the NBA draft. I don't, unless this dude is Jamal Crawford or somebody coming off the bench.
right.
I'm not wasting my fourth round pick. Not fourth round, but my fourth pick
Right.
on them on a bench player, bro.
And
And
that's what that's what bothered me the most was, and for me personally, and I'll tell you to this very day, I will die understanding that I was wrong. I thought Denny Avdija was the guy we should have went after. I thought Denny was nice. I loved what he did overseas. He hasn't really transitioned into that in Washington, and we're gonna get into that. But it's something. Him and Obi Toppin, those were my guys. And out of nowhere, Patrick Williams gets drafted. But I trust our tourists. I trust their plan.
yeah,
I trust what they are doing. But I definitely think it's showing now that in year 3 for you, like right now, what is the expectation off of Pat? Like, is this the year you need to find out, yo, this is potentially the face of the franchise, or at least a number 2 at some point?
you know what? I would be content if Pat Williams can show me he's a consistent number 3 guy.
Right.
You know, if you can show me that you're something that we can build off of, maybe become a glue guy, but maybe become a 3-and-D guy. He can stretch the floor sometimes with his shooting, and we know that when he focuses, he can play defense. You know, my thing with Patrick Williams is again one of the things that's the huge difference between good and great players and great and legendary players is consistency. How consistent are you this good? And I don't think we see that from Pat Williams. Like you talked about this many times, Mike. The last game in the season, this guy goes for 31. Like, how can you show us performances like that and then come out in the first 3 games of the season and you haven't even gotten over 5 rebounds, dude? Like, we're not asking you to go for 31 again.
Right.
Just play hard consistently every game.
And you know what it is for me too? I think there's roles and there's levels to a guy's success. I remember when
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen first became a Chicago Bull and Zach LaVine still missed the first half of the season. I was actually at Zach LaVine's first Chicago Bulls home game. He had these
Okay.
cold ass Adidas. I forgot which Adidas's they were, but they were all white. I mean, they were sick. You could see the white on this man's shoes from the
Yeah.
300 level. And I was on the 300 level because I was a 17-year-old broke ass kid. So I was definitely out there. And I'm still out there. Ain't nothing changed. I love the
Ain't
blue.
nothing changed. Look, hey, we just trying to get to the game.
Hey, the nosebleeds are where it's at. But in all seriousness, I remember a young Lauri Markkanen that looked like he was going to be a number 1, number 2 option because there wasn't anybody else there. And that game where Patrick Williams goes off for 30 plus, that was a game where most of the guys on the team were being rested. Lonzo was
Yeah.
out. Zach wasn't playing. I believe DeMar was playing, but DeMar, was passive in that game. He didn't really care the
Yeah.
last game of the season. We're looking at it for what that was and understanding that I think on a rebuilding team, on a team that doesn't have a lot of scoring options, Patrick Williams probably could consistently be that guy. But on a championship caliber team, I think there's just too much going on for him at this very moment for him to be able to understand what his role is and to do it at a consistent level. Now, like you said, play defense. Like sometimes I feel like he looks lost. Sometimes I feel like he's kind of
Like deer in headlights.
like a step behind everybody else. And, even though it's just a step, it's less than a foot. But I mean, shit. I mean, in this game, you're less than a step. You're getting dunked on. That's
In
what
the
it
in the NBA, all I need is a step. And
is.
you
100%.
see with Steph Curry, when you that great, all he needs is a hiccup.
Literally. Literally. We got my guy Dustin in here. Yeah, Patrick Williams did go to Florida State. Dustin says right here, Bulls defense concerns me. I also want you guys to think about this. Wait, what did he say? Are the Bulls better with or without LaVine? That's a crazy question. I think they're without a doubt better with LaVine.
Yeah.
I think the issue is, and here's where Rob and I have talked about it behind stage. I don't really go on record and say it, but I mean, fuck it. This is bullshit. We'll say what we want. But I do think there is a legitimate conversation about guys not understanding their roles with all the mouths.
Yeah.
Like Nikola Vucevic, I think would be better without Zach LaVine. And I think that's because in Orlando, he was always a number one, always a number two option with Aaron Gordon. There wasn't a DeMar, a Zach, a Lonzo, a Pat, and everybody else. He understood that most of the time he was going to get his stats and he was going to get his touches. And when you go to a championship caliber team, and you and I have talked about it, when you look at Golden State, and I always mention
Yeah.
Golden State when Rob Scott's on because that's his second home. But in all seriousness, you look at it, some guys can't play with Steph, Clay, and Poole and KD and Draymond and company. You just can't.
Well,
Andrew
that's because
Wiggins,
some people are ball stoppers,
exactly.
and the ball moves so fluently with Golden State. Everybody touches the ball. The shooters are always in motion. That's what makes them such a deadly offense because you don't know who's going to score. You have a guy like KD on that team, and Steph Curry is still feared, even if he doesn't have the ball in his hand, just because of what this team is capable of. Even right now, Clay is getting respect. Clay hasn't really been the knockdown shooter that we once seen him at. I
Right.
bet you they still won't leave Clay open.
Right. No, 100%. 100%. But that's the thing, a lot of the guys on this team, there's not a lot of separation when it comes to that, especially with Lonzo not on the court. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's one of the biggest problems. You have two slashers. I mean, we call them the Splash Brothers out in San Francisco, but over here in Chicago, they're the Slash Brothers. You have DeMar,
yeah,
you have Zach, they're doing their thing. And
yeah.
it's one of those things where Vooch is in the paint as well. There's a lot of guys clogged up, and Lonzo spreads that out. And that's one of the big things. That's why I love what I'm seeing from Dragic right now. Dragic understanding I'm not a three-point shooter, but fuck, these guys need the three-point shooter. So he's doing it at an efficient level. Before we get out and before we move on to the next game really quickly, we'll run through it. We don't care, but we'll talk about it. We'll give them their flowers. Our boy, former Bull, in the intro, which shout out to Matthew, shout out to Alan and everybody who helped create that intro.
Appreciate y'all for
Hey,
real.
it was 100% sick. I sent him these videos and I was like, listen, here's the music, here's the videos. I have this vision and I think you guys can hit it. And they hit it on the head. They did an amazing job. Alan Bratcher, you can always check him out doing amazing things. Matthew does amazing things as well on the ASAP network. They're
got us
killing
looking
it.
like a got us looking like a real podcast
I
now,
swear to
baby.
God. I swear to God. But to kick it off, Jimmy Butler, former Bull, in the intro still 24, 3 and 8 and 37. Martin 7, 3 and 4. Bam Adebayo 12, 2 and 9, getting bodied by Nikola Vucevic all night. Tyler Hero, I'm not gonna lie, Rob Scott, we're gonna have our own little segment really quickly. Tyler Hero gave us the work. I want to give that man his flowers. 23,
Hey,
1 and 6. What do you think?
hero. Hey, Tyler's a dog though, but we knew what Tyler was capable of. I mean,
Right.
didn't he win 6 man of the year last year?
Right. But here's the
He
thing,
won.
starting, he did this starting. And one of the big things for me was really understanding that Tyler wasn't starting, and this is my personal opinion. I
Yeah,
saw him. I saw him after, the bubble. I saw him after getting all the hype, the white boy from Wisconsin doing his thing. I saw it. He was on tour with Jack Harlow. He's in music videos. I mean,
yeah,
he's in songs. I mean, all the Instagram models. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying I think Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra said, listen, kid, we need you to get back in the court. We need you to get
yeah,
back in the gym and lock in. So we're going to have you coming off the bench because honestly, defensively, him and Duncan Robinson, both huge
yeah,
liabilities.
yeah.
And obviously Tyler's offense wasn't crazy going into the beginning of last season. So I think he really took that in a personal level. And now that he has that starting role, I think he's going to make everybody pay for it.
Yeah, you know what? And I think right now Miami has no choice but to start him
Oh yeah,
because
you have to.
Kyle Lowry is just not Kyle
And
Lowry.
let's talk about that. Kyle Lowry, five rebounds, 4 assists. And
Yeah,
you think with those numbers, he did something crazy. He had 2 points, Rob Scott.
yeah.
What's the
He,
situation with Kyle Lowry?
Some players, unfortunately, father times hit them a lot quicker than others. And I think that's just a matter of what it is right now. Kyle Lowry is, once you lose, whatever it is that makes you, it's going to be hard to be you. Look at Westbrook, for instance. He lost that quick step. And I
Right.
believe a lot of that came once he had that injury from Pat Bev. Once you take your MCL, take your ACL, anything dealing with the knee is, we rarely see guys be the same. And I think that's the same case with Kyle Lowry. He lost that quick little first step. A lot of guys are able to catch up to him now. He's never been a super athletic guy, never been a tall guy. Unfortunately, you can't teach height. So, you lose that step, you lose your ability to get past guys. You got to remember, this is the NBA. Everybody was somebody in the NBA.
Right.
You know, you look at their old high schools, they was the man at their high school. They might not be the man in the NBA, but I'm telling you, once upon a time, these were your guys that were top 100 recruits.
Without a
And
doubt.
these guys know each other. So, you know, once you lose a step in the NBA, it's, you know, he might as well go ahead, continue getting that check. And when it's time to clock out for good, go ahead and clock out.
Without a doubt. And that's why a big one for me was really understanding. To me personally, I thought Kyle needed to be in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. This was before Russ
Yeah.
got traded. I thought DeMar and Kyle were gonna team up and go to LA with Bron. And I thought it would have been dope. It would have been sick. But
You know what? That's on Brian. Brian chose
that
a
is on Bron.
name over, you know, I get it. He looked at Russell Westbrook and was like, maybe, you know,
It
and
would have been a story to tell. It would have been a story to tell. 100%.
I tell you this, if we had a Lakers podcast, oh my God.
We'd be here all day. We'd be here all day. Honestly, every Lakers podcast just needs to be named Russell Westbrook Hate Club. Like they're all.
You know what? They hate on Russ, and you can't keep blaming Russ. It's not just Russ' fault.
Right.
But we you know what?
We'll get into that.
We
but,
don't. Hey, look, wait till we make the Patreon. If y'all want to see us really talk and break down NBA teams, get the Bullsheet Patreon.
Get them
And
stars.
I'm telling you,
Get them
we
stars.
finna we gonna be talking some talk.
Without a doubt. Before we get into the Wizards game, really quick, shout out to Strauss, by the way, always doing his thing. 22, 1-7. Vincent had 2, 3-0. Dedmon had 11, 1-3. Duncan Robinson off the bench, 5, 3-4. Still hasn't really found his spot since 2020. And I think a big part of that's his podcast, but that's just me personally. And Highsmith didn't play. But getting into it, the big game, the one I wanted to talk about, Friday night, October 21st, Bulls lose by 2. Which obviously the NBA did correct that, you know, DeMar was fouled at the end of the game and it would have been a game-winning 3 points at the line. What do you think, Rob Scott? Should you hold weight into that, or is it just a horrible game all around, even without LaVine?
You know what? First of all, I have such a disdain when referees do that after the game. That doesn't help me now. Okay, you telling me you missed? I don't care now. I don't care. It didn't help us. Are you gonna rescind it and give us the dub? Are you gonna call us back on the court, play a 5-minute overtime? Something gotta happen. You telling me you made a mistake? I don't care. But you know what though? The Bulls have bigger issues than the ref that game. They could not stop the Wizards. I mean, we talked about it. The unicorn is making an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Porzingis been good enough.
He's been going crazy. Rob, really quick. And maybe it's a little too early, so you don't got to give me a definitive answer. But as of right now, does Washington have a sneaky big three?
Oh, not yet. I got to see Kuzma be consistent and Porzingis. I'm not gonna let him off the hook.
Exactly.
We saw Porzingis in New York. We saw Porzingis with Dallas. It's times where you look at Porzingis, it's like, dude, he has the potential to be what Phil Jackson saw when he drafted him in that New York for the New York Knicks. And then he have games you like, dude, Porzingis, like I know you play better than that. To me, with him, I think it's a want issue. Right. I don't really think he cares sometimes.
No, yeah.
I think he's in the NBA and he's like, yeah, I'm in the NBA. Like this is what you guys might want a championship. To me, I won my championship. I'm in the NBA.
Right. No, 100%. And you go as high as you get drafted, you get that money. I mean, it changes a lot of things. Getting into the stats of it before we talk about the unicorn and everybody else, the Bulls, again, without Zach LaVine and Lonzo, DeMar goes off 32, 6-6 and 37. Patrick Williams, we're going to continue to talk about 7-0-1 in 24. I mean, I understand Porzingis is 7 feet tall, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you got to give me more than one.
And that's my thing. You played 24 minutes, bro. 23 minutes and 57 seconds to be exact. You only gave me 1 rebound, bro.
100%.
1 rebound, bro.
And you know what? I understand that if you're in double figures. I understand that if you're throwing the ball around.
Even then, I don't understand that. I'm sorry. When you 6'10" and you 6'11", and you're known for defending and rebounding, and you give me 1 rebound, dude, even if you were double see, that's why I respect the greats. You look back at the world, the KGs of the world. Like, we've seen smaller, slender power forwards dominate. Look at the Rasheed Wallaces. I mean, I don't. I'm not giving you no excuse for no one rebound. I don't
No,
care if you
100%.
score 30, bro. I need at least six. I
Without a
need at
doubt.
least six.
Without a doubt. And I think it's a big part of it too is Patrick plays with the second unit a lot as well. And I think that's one of the biggest things too is Porzingis isn't always on the floor. You're going against
Yes.
Montrezl Harrell. So like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Vooch had himself a day again, 24, 1 and 8 and 30. Shout out to my guy Vooch. I gave him a lot of shit last year. I will say this, still chucking up them threes. I needed to stop. But it's okay. Alex Caruso, 3-1
But
and
the
3.
shit, to be honest, Vooch been our best shooter from the 3-point line.
100%. Him and Dragic have been carrying it. But that's how you know there's a problem. That's how you know there's a problem. But it's crazy, bro. And Caruso 3-1 and 3-1. Io had a dip. I'm not gonna make excuses for him. 7-2 and 5 after his first game dropping 17. But I think that's what you know about Io is just the inconsistencies. Once this kid gets consistent, you're gonna get a lot better version of him. Speaking of Mr. Inconsistent, Rob Scott's favorite player on the Chicago Bulls. And that's just a joke. But Kobe White, I mean, again, 10
Buckets.
Kobe, the Kobe experiment to me, again, after the first 3 games, has not changed. It has not changed once.
Well, you know what? Kobe he should really be relishing in the role that he has now.
Right.
Like, dude,
Like,
everybody's been complaining about the fact that, like, yes, we really just need you to score. We don't need you to do nothing else. Just come get buckets, bro.
Right.
You got the ultimate green light off the bench.
100%. I mean, the guys around him. You look at Andre Drummond, who's just doing pick and rolls. You look at Gordon Dragic, who's trying to set you up. You're looking at Alex Caruso, who's trying to set you up. You look at Javonte Green. The only thing Javonte, respectfully, he's also sponsored by Bench Mob, so I'm never going to disrespect that man. But all he's doing is dunking out of his shoes. That's all Javonte Green wants to do.
You got to perform, man. You got to perform.
That's my thing right now, Rob, is the only person who truly off that bench has a green light to shoot is Kobe White. And Gordon Dragic is making up for that. And I think that's something right now Kobe needs to take advantage of, especially on a contract year. I mean, we're talking about what's going to happen with the former number 7 overall pick out of UNC. I mean, it's really upsetting. It's upsetting. But Dragic was 7-5-2. Drummond 10-1-10 had a double-double. Rob Scott, it was a great day. Javonte Green 0-2-1. But for you, a Drummond double-double on top of Vooch getting over 8 boards. Can you kind of talk about how that's a little bit different versus what we saw last year where it was mainly just Vooch and obviously Tristan Thompson was there, but he wasn't doing jack compared to what Drummond's been doing?
No, Drummond is a better player than Tristan Thompson. So let's go ahead and let the people know we were happy that Tristan was there just because we needed some type of adrenaline.
We needed something.
Jolt. We needed something. You ever seen the movie Crash? He just needed something to keep that heart rate going, and that's what we needed for the Bulls last year. But to get Drummond was a godsend. The big penguin. Drummond has done everything that I expect him to do, and I'm not expecting big minutes, big points. The man played 18 minutes, and this is again, and not to just dog Patrick Williams, but rebounding is about 1. This man got a double-double off 18 minutes coming off the bench. You're starting, you get 23 minutes, bro, in 57 seconds. Right. And you give me 1 rebound. That's what I'm saying. We need right now we're lacking, we need Lonzo to come back, and that'll surefire up the defensive presence on the perimeter for our guys. But right now we need our front line to stand up. Vucevic has been standing up pretty decent to me defensively. He's still no world breaker, but Vooch is not letting people just baby him down in the hole. Right. We need our other guys to step up. We need the Patrick Williams of the world to step up. Maybe you start to give Drummond more minutes. If Patrick Williams doesn't decide to step up, maybe you try this Twin Tower experience where you can let Vucevic stay out there on the perimeter and put Drummond down low. Don't have me start coaching the team. Don't have me start coaching this team. And the only things I worry about from what I've seen the Bulls is when they play these big guys who are athletic, somebody like Zion, somebody like Kyle Kuzma, when they play these big guys that can get a step on you, the Bulls seem to always be a step behind. So we need to figure out something defensively.
Right, and I definitely don't think that Twin Tower option would work just because Vooch at the 4.
He's too slow. He's too slow.
Zion, guys like that.
Oh, they gonna have their way with him.
Man, hey, I'll tell you what. Whoever's playing the 4 against Vooch at the 4, I'm picking him up on fantasy all day, every day.
Oh God. Oh, he going for an easy 35 that night.
Without a doubt. But right now, team leaders, DeMar DeRozan is leading in points at
Yeah.
27.3 average. Vooch is leading in rebounds, 9.7 a game. Assists is DeMar, shockingly, 5.3 a game. Steals is Alex Caruso, 2.0 a game. And blocks is Vooch still with 2.0. So I think Vooch is really just doing his thing, and he's really making a name for himself. But it's what I always tell you. When guys aren't on the floor, Lonzo's not there, Zach is not there, that's when you start to see Vooch really take over. I need to see Vooch take over when everybody's around. Like we talked about it about the Phoenix Suns. DeAndre Ayton is a bucket. But when CP is there, when CP3 is there, when Devin Booker's there, when Bridges and Cam Johnson and all those guys are there, he kind of just gets in the corner and just, he's just happy to be there. You know what I mean? We need a dog in you. We need you to join the party. And that's what I love about Zion right now. I mean, you see Valanciunas, you see Ingram, you see McCollum, you see all these guys out there, and Zion's like, "Fuck it, I'm still getting mine." Like
he blended right in.
He blended
but
right
in. But it's effort. I knew Zion was gonna be okay just because of the type of player he is.
Right,
Zion can kill you without the ball. Right. Oh, I knew New Orleans would be right on schedule. Right on schedule. I said last year. I believe Zion could have played a little bit last year. Now he's not he don't look as good as he does now. But I believe last year he could have came in there and made a difference.
Right.
He could have came in there and made a difference.
Like we said, they're my team. They're my dark horse. Like a lot of people have Memphis. A lot of people have all these other teams as their dark horse.
I'm with you on that one.
I think Cleveland and New Orleans, if you want to talk about a sneaky team that could make the finals, either of those teams I think right now are doing their thing. But getting into it from a Wizards perspective, you know how it is, Rob Scott. We're finna fly through these boys because we do not care. But Kyle Kuzma, I gotta give him his flowers. 26, 2 and 6. Denny Avdija, 6, 4 and 10, had 10 rebounds on Patrick Williams. 10 rebounds on Patrick Williams. This little white boy from Europe, dogging Patrick Williams. I mean, and we could have drafted Denny. We talked about that. We could have drafted Obi Toppin. We could have drafted Denny. And obviously, Denny was a little bit more unseasoned because he played overseas. But, Obi Toppin looks great for what we've seen. He isn't amazing, but he looks great for what his role is in New York.
Yeah.
Porzingis, 14, 2 and 3. Beal, 19, 8 and 1. Morris, 9, 3 and 4. I mean, Hachimura had 12, 1 and 4, Wright 6, 4 and 3, Daniel Gafford, I miss that man every day, 2, 0 and 2, Barton 6, 1 and 5, and then you finish it off. Gill had 2, 1 and 1. Rob, I read off this list, and the reason I wanted to get through the stat sheet was just because you look at these numbers. I mean, the highest scorer was 26 points in Kyle Kuzma. The next one after that is 19. I mean, if we're being completely honest, they didn't outplay us. From in a statistical standpoint, I mean, we had not only 3 guys with 20 plus points or 2 guys with 20 plus points, but we had everybody else pretty much holding it down. The big thing, and Dustin brought it up, was the Bulls defense. And I know you wanted to get into that. I want you to dive into it. What is so different from what we usually see from the Bulls and what we're seeing right now?
Well, what I'm thinking right now is too many times we see up top, the guards are able to penetrate with no problem. And once they penetrate, you throwing everybody off rhythm because now people playing catch up trying to recover. And that's been the thing. We already know Vucevic is not a world breaker. Patrick Williams, not a world breaker. And even Andre Drummond sometimes inconsistent on the defensive side, on the defensive side of the ball. And I think by allowing them to get penetration from up top, you're really putting these guys at anyone's mercy. This is why Kyle Kuzma gets 26 points.
Right.
Because he has nobody to stop him. Once they penetrate, it's easy. It's an easy bucket. Or he's going to be open for a 3-point shot. And the Bulls are horrible at covering from the 3-point line as well. They give up too many open threes to me.
Without a doubt. And they're uncontested at that as well. There's something to be said about being there. You know what I mean? And we talked about it last year, Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson did not play a lick of defense last year, but at least he was there. He's in your face. horrible, but we leave a lot of guys uncontested. We're focusing on the wrong assignments. We're not really making adjustments. And I want to ask you, Billy Donovan right now, and I'm not off the Billy Donovan train. I believe in Billy. I
No,
like Billy as a person.
no,
But for
Billy's
you,
good.
do you think he loses that side of making adjustments in the second half of a game? Because that's really when, to me, last season, you and I talked about it. We were a second half team. Like in the second half of the game, we went stupid. But for us,
Yeah,
I feel like the last 3 games we've seen, the first half, we come in super strong outside of maybe the beginning of the game. But then the second half is when we start to see guys making mistakes and they're not making
yeah.
adjustments.
Well, we saw that in the Washington game, but in the Cleveland game, the Bulls just. I mean,
That was
Cleveland came out and punched us right
we're
in the
gonna
mouth.
talk about the
They
Cleveland game.
came out and punched us right in the mouth. But
Yeah, but
you
we knew
know,
that. We knew that.
yeah, yeah. But even so, I didn't think they was gonna get beat up like that.
I did.
But
I've
but
been telling you, hey, Donovan Mitchell to the moon, baby. We're gonna give that man flowers.
but with Washington, you look at Bradley Beal, and this goes back to what I'm saying about the guards getting the penetration. We're talking about a guy not so long ago that was number 2 in the conversation of best scorer in the NBA at that time, and now he comes off and gives you 19 points, but he gives you 8 assists. And
Right.
that shows how the Bulls are allowing that dribble penetration to happen. And the bigs of the other team are just picking us apart. They are
Without a
picking
doubt.
us apart. That's why
Without a
Kyle
doubt.
Kuzma gets a 26.
Definitely. And I think that's the conversation though. At half you realize, all right, Kuzma's cooking. Let's put 2 guys on him, or let's do this, let's do that, let's switch up
Yeah,
the rotation. And they make 0 adjustments. They just run down the same thing and they're gonna say, all right, this works. Now I understand it. It's who's there. What,
yeah,
what what product is available. You don't have Lonzo, who's your best defender. You don't have Zach LaVine, who can deal with Bradley Beal. I'm not gonna say that he's gonna, stop Bradley Beal. He ain't gonna lock him up, but he's definitely gonna be able to handle his business. I think that's one of the biggest things right now, but we're going to talk about it. Rob Scott, really quick, before we get into the Cleveland game, the LaVine and Lonzo injuries right now. Obviously, the Lonzo one is much more serious than the LaVine one. The LaVine one's really load management from what they're saying, but who knows? Right now, like, how showing is that? Out of the first 3 games, we've seen LaVine once in the home opener.
yeah. We're lacking in scoring due to that. I mean, DeMar DeRozan can, we know he can be a consistent 30-point scorer. I mean, he's beautiful from the mid range, but he needs help. He needs somebody else that's going to be able to get their own shot to take pressure off him. I think right now teams are coming in and trying to hone in on DeMar. We definitely saw that in the Cleveland game. They're like, hey, I don't care who get off from the Bulls, stop DeMar, because they know right now Zach is still trying to get back in his rhythm, so they're not worried about Zach right now. We're definitely gonna need Zach for his scoring and missing Lonzo defensively. Just his presence there on the perimeter, you can put in somebody like him and Caruso that can be some real showstoppers and stop this dribble penetration from the guard. So hopefully we can get the double L's back, because right now we've taken double L's because we don't have our guys.
I hate you, bro. I hate you, bro. Nah, that was sick. That was sick. I'm not even going to lie, but I
Hey, hashtag bars.
That's that bar doing it right now. What do I always say to you, Rob Scott? Chance the Rapper's on 79 right now, writing this down. Writing this down right now. But I know right now, Rob's 2 cents, if you don't know, everybody. I mean, come on, give him a round of applause. He's killing it. Killing it. But, the LaVine thing, I mean, it reminds me so much of the Clippers without Kawhi.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be days and there's going to be times where I understand, all right, give him a break. We just had 4 games in a week. Give him a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. It is what it is. We're playing OKC. It doesn't matter. But in the first 3 games, I mean, we need you, bro. We need you.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of the situation. And I understand it's all about the race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So if he did legitimately need those 2 games in a 82 game season plus playoffs, I'm not gonna hold him. I'm not gonna hold you for that. Like, I understand. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, with Lonzo out, somebody needs to be that guy to step up. And I'm pretty sure at one point, as much as DeMar is loving the shine, I'm sure he's gonna get tired of it.
Well, even so, you got DeMar playing out of his element.
Right.
I mean, you just mentioned he's our leading assist getter as well.
Right.
So that's not DeMar.
But let me ask you this. Here's a problem with it too, and I want your opinion on it.
Yeah.
We saw last year when Zach got back and he was fully healthy. We knew he wasn't, but he was out there, It was a conversation to where I felt like DeMar had a hard time going back to his original game. He still thought he was the dude. He still was playing like the number one option, and rightfully so. But let me ask you right now, Lonzo gets back. And obviously DeMar is probably still going to be leading in assists. You get Zach back, who's still probably, and DeMar is still going to be leading in scoring. All these guys are back. Do you think that's going to be a problem for DeMar to realize I got to go back to who I used to be, because he's not been in that situation all season?
No, I think he might actually relish to go back to that. I think, to put him back. Of course, players are gonna love getting the shine, getting the praise, getting the congratulations on being able to run the team. But it's hard. Ask LeBron James. That's what makes him great. LeBron's been able to do it for so long. I think DeMar really shines when he comes in and he takes over the ball. He takes over our scoring. He becomes our go-to option. And I think having Lonzo back, where he's the playmaker of the team, also giving space into those guys, allowing these guys to have open spots and ISO spots on the floor. And then not to mention putting Zach LaVine where he can show his shooting prowess and continue to get buckets and space the floor right now. You said it earlier, Mike, spacing. That's our problem offensively. And when Vucevic is the one trying to provide spacing, we need Vucevic big ass down there in the paint.
100%.
He wakes up in the morning and he gets a double.
Right.
So I think right now not having Lonzo there, it's just got so many guys out of place.
Right.
And I think in Lonzo and I think the Bulls will be A-okay.
I think that's one of the biggest things as well, is like you understand. And here's the thing, and it's a beautiful thing down in Golden State. And I keep comparing it to Golden State. And obviously it's an anomaly, but you're starting to see it more and more. The spacing of the Splash Brothers. And that's why I always say it. The Splash Brothers are so different than the Slash Brothers, because the problem with that, when you have a shooting guard and a small forward that both go drive into the paint, and you have a center like Vooch. Vooch is not on the outside of the perimeter. Vooch is not going to be in the corner looking for a wide open three. Vooch is one of those guys that's going to be down in the paint doing the dirty work. The problem right now, Rob, is, okay, so this is no disrespect to Io. I'm not putting him in a box, but as of this very moment, Io isn't one of those guys that knows how to facilitate and really space.
No.
And that's okay.
He's point guard by default right now.
Right.
But he's not a point guard.
Right. I think he's a 2 and a 1, but that's okay. Yeah. We can definitely talk about that another day. But the problem is we have 4 guys that are so driven in the paint. We have Patrick Williams doesn't know where the fuck he's supposed to be. We have Vooch who knows where he wants to be. Sometimes he's forced outside to shoot some threes, but we know where he originally wants to be. That's why he was an all-star in Orlando back in 2020. Mm-hmm. And you look at Zach, who's driving to the basket. He's starting to shoot a lot more, but he's still driving to the basket by default. You see DeMar, who's doing it all the time. DeMar with the mid-range. I mean, right now, the only guy that you could see forced outside is Lonzo and Dragic. Mm-hmm. And I'll say Dragic. But it's something right now that I really want to see, and it's something I really am excited to kind of kick off and talk about. It's our next topic. Before we get into it, before we talk about the Cleveland as a whole, I want to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the number 18th overall pick. We have yet to see him. Dalen Terry, Rob Scott, right now. Explain to the viewers, where the fuck is Dalen Terry and why hasn't he played yet?
He's still earning his stripes. I'm gonna tell you like this. I think the way Billy Donovich is looking at it is, or Donovan. I'm sorry, I don't want to put the H on the end of his name. I think what Billy Donovan is looking into is if he's bringing in Dalen Terry so early, that means the Bulls are hitting the panic button, and we don't want to show panic. It's only been 3 games. Allow him to come in gradually. We need the Bulls to start to pull ahead of some of these games so we can get garbage time minutes to evaluate these guys in real life NBA games. Dalen Terry hasn't shown me enough yet. Well, I'm like, throw him out there. Let's see what the kid can do. Because I believe if we're going that far on our bench where we're grabbing a rookie and putting them in a pressure situation immediately off the jump, then we've hit the panic button. And I don't want, as a fan of the Chicago Bulls, 3 games in the season, I don't want to see Dalen Terry.
Right, and that is exactly. Now, I do understand why we saw him Saturday night in the home opener. We saw him play 4 minutes, 0 points across the board. But obviously, it was garbage time. It was
Garbage
garbage
time
time.
minutes. That's what we
It,
need.
it was a horrible game. The Chicago Bulls lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell 128-96
Punched us right in the mouth.
with Zach LaVine making his season debut in the home opener. Zach had a dope speech in the beginning of it. He was kicking it off, giving everybody hype. Yo, Bulls fans, we're back. We're going to be better than ever. We don't want to just be a playoff entrance. We want to make some noise. And then proceeded to get punched in the dick. So for you, Rob Scott, I mean, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We're going to get into it first. I want to get these guys out of the way. First, let's talk about it. Donovan Mitchell having his MVP season so far, and I'm calling it that because that's what it is. 32, 8, and 9, almost had a triple-double in 35 minutes. Jared Allen had 8, 2, and 6 and 29. Evan Mobley, 16, 1, and 3. Karis LeVert, 14, 8, and 4 and 33. Okoro had 2, 0, and 1, but don't be fooled. That boy defensively is who Patrick Williams wishes he could be. I mean, Osman had 15, 4, and 2. Kevin Love, which I got mad love for K-Love, 15, 4, and 12. I mean,
he's been playing still. He's still been playing good. He better show my boy K-Love
himself.
You know what? I think he likes this young Cleveland team. He likes them.
That's what it was for me during the rebuilding times where, you understand the concussions, you understand all the little, lingering injuries he's had. He was like, fuck this. I ain't hooping for y'all. But now that these guys are hooping, I mean, they're dominant, and they're dominant.
Oh, yeah.
Robin Love's going to be a huge part of that. You have Robin Lopez. Shout out to my guy, Robin Lopez. I miss that man. I know Benny the Bull does too. 12, 0, and 3. Nito had 6, 4, and 4. Mobley had 3, 1, and 0. That's actually Isaiah Mobley, not to get that twisted. Stevens had 1 rebound, and D Wade, who everyone forgets, Dean Wade, the white boy, 5, 1, and 2 in 4 minutes. Can't get that confused because Dean, I remember someone told me the other day, yo, D Wade's on the Cavs. I was like, what are you talking about? It's Dean. So, I mean, we're not going to.
Dean Wade, not Dwayne.
Dean Wade. But
in the words of Whitley Gilbert, not Dwayne.
Not Dwayne. But in all seriousness, DeMar DeRozan, lackluster performance, 13, 1, and 2. 13 is still not bad. Still not bad, but it's not what we know he should be.
Not when you're the number one guy. I'm not letting you off the hook, DeMar.
Right.
When you're the number one guy, when you get a name like Debo, I need you to be Debo. Now you can at least give me 25.
Exactly. And that was my big thing is when you look at it, when DeMar DeRozan first came to Chicago, if you would have told me he had 13, 1, and 2, I would have been like, all right, that's fine. But after last season and after the first 2 games of this season, I can't do that. Not in home opener.
Now, if you tell me DeMar DeRozan got 13, 1, and 2, I'm going to say who else on the team?
Exactly. If
that's the next question I'm asking. Who we had, Giannis or somebody?
Right.
Because I know that's who got 40 then.
Right. 100%. No, 100%. You look at Patrick Williams again. Now let's talk about it. No Lonzo. DeMar did not have a great night. Is that fair to say? DeMar didn't have a great night?
That's very fair.
DeMar didn't have a great night. Patrick Williams still 6, 0, and 3, only played 16 minutes.
3 rebounds.
Rob Scott. What the fuck?
3 rebounds.
3 rebounds.
That's all I'm saying, man. Rebounding is effort. Rebounding is effort.
It does not make sense to me, but we're going to fly past Pat because I'm tired of talking about him. 16, 3, and 4 from Vooch. I mean, Vooch is doing his thing still. Zach LaVine, season opener game, home opener, 23, 4, and 3. The knee looks good. He played 28 minutes. I mean, how do you think Zach's first performance went?
I mean, Zach played how, Zach plays. I think sometimes Zach needs to learn to play within the team. I think sometimes Zach can get so in the zone that he's just thinking about Zach. And I don't care if he's having one of those nights where he's in a 40-point zone. But sometimes I'm like, Zach, stay within the team. I mean, we look at what Cleveland did. They punched us in the mouth in the opening, and they punched us in the mouth to close us out. I mean, they just whooped our ass. First quarter, beat us 34-25. Fourth quarter, 35-17. Who we beat like that?
Exactly.
Who we beating like that?
Exactly. Now, I will say this. I always say this. We are not a first quarter team. We never have been. The last couple of years, we always come out behind. We're always chasing. I want to start being the jogger, man. I want to start being the guy being chased.
Facts.
I'm tired of being the guy coming from behind. Like, it's cool.
Facts.
Comebacks are great. But what I love about the Golden State Warriors and other teams like that is I could turn off the game in the third quarter and put my head on the pillow knowing I could wake up in the morning and say they won. Like, I know that.
Yeah.
But with the Bulls, I mean, you got to watch every minute because you never know when these little drives are going to come, when they're going to go on these runs. I mean, and let's be real, Rob, they go on 17-0 runs frequently. I mean, they do stuff
Yeah,
like
because
that all the
we have the defense to do so. I think the Bulls' biggest problem sometimes you can kind of compare them to the Bears, who we're going to give them a little shout out a little later on. Going against the Patriots tonight. I don't know if Mac Jones coming back, but all I know is Zappy been playing. But that's a different conversation. But if we look at the Bulls, and you kind of compare them to the Bears. We have those situations where for some reason it's like the team doesn't come together. It's like the team doesn't like. We need to draft better. I don't know. Maybe we need to get in the free agency pool. I don't know what it is about our Bulls teams, our Chicago teams in general. It's like we won't spend that money. Like we finally started to spend some money with Lonzo and DeMar DeRozan, but even so, we need scores. We
right.
need guys to come out there and shoot the ball. I think right now the Bulls are having a lot of spacing issues. We need some shooters.
And a big
Maybe
part
we
of that
look into the
is the
trade
amount of
agency,
guards,
free
bro. Look
agency
how many
pool.
guards.
Yeah, we're cloud. We're
We got all
clustered.
the
It's like a
guards.
clusterfuck of guards.
We got all these guards. Not one of them can shoot. Like, that's the crazy. I mean, Dragic can shoot, but I mean,
Dragic is a scorer.
Right.
He's not a shooter.
Exactly.
He just knows how to put the ball in the bucket.
We need a Kyle Korver so bad right now. We had
Or JJ Redick.
Oh man, it'd be disgusting.
Somebody like a JJ Redick. Somebody where you don't really get that much of a drop off defensively.
Right.
But they just know how to get open threes. They know how to get open. Even if you look at the kid Grayson Allen, I know how we feel about Grayson. It's still
it's still on site to this day.
Yeah, it's still on site with Grayson Allen just because of what he did to my boy Caruso. But even this guy, he steps up. He hits open jumpers. Maybe we even miss a Doug McDermott.
Dougie, don't. Let's not talk about Dougie.
Hey, but Doug used to get buckets, low key.
Traded Dougie. I forgot who we traded. We traded Dougie and somebody else for Cameron Payne. It was the other way. It was something. It was awful. We need
to get some shooters. We honestly need to get some shooters, and
we need it bad.
And then that's why I compared them to the Bears because the Bears need receivers. Like Bears badly need receivers. They need. I know we need offensive line, but we also need some guys that's going to get some separation. But I don't know what it is, man. I'm just tired of being in rebuild mode.
Right, and that's why I was big on Jay Crowder, and me and you talked about that. I wanted Jay Crowder on a Bulls roster. I'll trade Patrick Williams right now for Jay Crowder. I think Jay Crowder, at least you have to, like you said, you can't leave him open. Just like Clay. Yeah, I'm not the same level of Clay, but it's the conversation. You need to respect that man from three. And Jay Crowder is one of those guys that'll space the floor, especially with Lonzo. I feel like that opens everything up a lot more. Carmelo's still a free agent. There's so many free agents right now. The Bulls.
I don't know about Melo. I love Melo, but
I just want the jersey. But
hey, you know what though? I'm still mad at Melo for not coming here when we had D Rose in his prime. If he would have chose Chicago over New York, oh my God.
It would have been Wade.
That would have been a
ring versus Melo, Noah, Jimmy,
and Rose,
and Derek. I had to say the best for last.
Yeah, D Rose. I mean,
it would have been nasty.
I don't know what Melo was thinking. I get no. Actually, I do $106 million. That's what he was thinking.
We're getting back into it. We're gonna drop it. Finish the rest of them. We don't even got to talk about them because we already know how it goes. We had Io again 5-3-4 and 27. Kobe had 5-1-1. Caruso 2-2-2. Jones Jr. had 8-0-2. Javante Green, who played 14 minutes, 6-2-3. Drummond,
nobody showed up.
Drummond 8-0-7. Dragic 4-3-2. Bradley 0-0-2. Making his NBA debut. Dalen Terry 4 minutes. Zeros around the board. And then Marko Simonovic, 2 minutes, zeros around the board. Billy Donovan has a lot of explaining to do about this game. But I'm going to be honest, keeping it a stack, I said it from the jump. I think Cleveland is a championship caliber team. And
I'm not going to say that yet. I got to see how Cleveland looks when Darius Garland is back fully healthy.
Right.
And because right now, I don't, I saw one of my friends, my boy Meach. Shout out to my boy Meach. and he made an interesting. Matter of fact, it wasn't Meach. I think it was my boy Corey. But one of my boys made an interesting post where, and I kind of agree. Donovan Mitchell hasn't really made anybody better. He's
Right.
just providing the scoring that they miss.
Right.
That's what Cleveland needs. When things go stagnant, when things start to slow down a little bit, I need a guy who can just put the ball in his hand and say, "Go give me a bucket, bro."
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I think that's one of the things, though, is you don't need to make these guys better. I think
Yeah,
Mobley, Allen, Love, Garland, they're all
that's a
dogs.
good. That's a good point too, though, man.
You just need the numbers. Like, you
That's
just
a
needed
good
that guy
point
to
too.
score. I think you
Yeah,
just needed him to score. And one of the big things, JB Bickerstaff, I mean, the guy is a phenomenal head coach, and not a lot of
he
people talk
is.
about him. They don't give him his flowers.
He's a great leader.
He is. He really does his thing. But Rob Scott, we got our last topic of the day. I miss your face, though. I want to see more of you on the ASAP in the morning show.
I've been missing you guys. You know when honestly, so I'm watching. I woke up at 3 this morning Hawaii time. Like I said, right now 10:36 out here in the morning.
Oh,
I've
so
been
you
up
were up.
since
It was like 9 Chicago, huh?
right. So I'm just used to being up. You know what I'm saying? So got up, hopped in the shower, so I tuned into the morning show. Saw a little bit of. I don't think I caught the afternoon show. Oh yes, I did because I saw it was Dustin and Jay on there. I know. Hey, shout out to Jay. Let me give Jay his love. The Houston Astros
Yeah, I
making it
was
to the
on
World
too.
Series.
I had to. He let me hear it. He let me hear it.
I gotta give Jay McLovin his love.
Yes,
His
sir.
Houston Astros. So, but I still been trying to catch the shows, but I just wasn't. I wasn't like a, lucid enough in the brain to jump
Right.
online,
Oh,
and
100%.
I didn't really get to watch the games, dude. Like it took us like literally. I would say it was probably like 11 o'clock our time. By the time in Chicago time, by the time I landed and got
Damn,
like, dude, I was up at 2 in the morning.
that's crazy. That is
Yeah, dude.
crazy,
So I
bro.
didn't really, and I'm surprised I'm up and talking and moving. I guess it's the Casamigos.
He's
I
living. He's
don't.
living. He's got that coconut water. He's got that
I
coconut
guess it's
water.
the Casamigos. Anything happened off the Casamigos. But you know
100%.
what though, man? I don't care where I'm at. I could be in Hawaii. I could be in Dubai. I could be in Alaska. I'm gonna do the bullshit.
Without a doubt. Without a
I'm
doubt,
gonna do the
baby.
bullshit. I gotta see. Do you see this guy's face? Oh, you got some fans too, by the way, Mike. I got couple of my female friends like, who's that guy? I say
Nah.
the Italian stallion. I say my
Sheesh.
boy Mike.
Doing our thing, baby. But we got one last topic before the stallion get out of here. We gotta get Rob Scott back in Hawaii. I know he's not showing you right now. He's repping a dope Chicago tee, but I know he's
oh,
wearing that
oh,
flawless
oh,
flannel.
oh, oh. And this shout out to my boy Miguel. With the Grand Theft Auto cruising the shot. You guys can see, man.
Yeah,
I
but
rep Chicago wherever I go. Wherever I go.
we're
Shout
gonna
out to
see
my boy
Rob Scott very
NZS.
soon, though. We're gonna have him in the paper trail necklace. We're gonna have him in the flower Hawaiian shirt. It's gonna be sick.
That's coming tomorrow. We got a luau we going to.
Oh,
I don't
I
know if
need all
y'all
the
guys can
pictures.
see. I'm right off the beach. And that's the Pacific to be specific. And,
Ooh.
and
Chance, write that down. Write that down. Last
nah,
topic of the day,
we gotta
Rob.
get Rick Ross's credit for that one. The
Hmm,
Pacific to be specific.
100%. Last
Hey,
topic
but
of the
yeah,
day.
no, it's kicking it out here, man. It's definitely a beautiful time.
What do you think, Rob? We got this week going into it. We got
I know we
Boston
got
Celtics
Boston tonight.
tonight. Now I'm
Yeah,
gonna be dependent on how this Bears game goes.
yeah.
Monday Night Football. I can't do back-to-back primetime losses, baby. So I think
Especially the Boston. Ironic,
exactly.
right?
We're playing Boston twice tonight. The Bears are playing the Patriots, and the Bulls are playing the Boston Celtics in Chicago. Super exciting to see that kick off at 7 p.m. Central. Wednesday, we are playing Gonzo and the Pacers. That was a little ASAP joke for y'all that tune in. We're playing the Pacers in Chicago. We have Friday night in San Antonio. Shout out Carolina.
Yeah.
She's always doing her thing. We're going to see what they're made of over there, especially without DeJounte Murray. Then to finish it off, we want to talk about Miami having our numbers. In the quote of Rick Ross, oh,
Whoa.
Philly on
Well,
Saturday.
you know what? Philly have been disappointing this year.
But they've beaten the Bulls in every
Yeah, that's
matchup
because we don't have an answer for Joel Embiid. But the
since
question is,
2019. We have not beaten the Philadelphia 76ers.
the question this season is, which Joel Embiid are we gonna play?
Exactly. And I think
That's the
right
question.
now, Rob, I'm going to ask you, as a whole, how do you see the week playing out? We're going to do our little win-loss ratio out of these 4
Okay.
games. What do you think? Boston, Spurs, Pacers, Philly.
I think we should go 2-2. We might lose to Boston. I think right now Boston's still playing with a chip on their shoulder. Jason Tatum has come out the gate swinging. I know Jaylen Brown is going to get into the groove of things. He should be playing with a chip on the shoulder, considering the fact that every time we look up, he's in trade talks,
Oh,
and we
man.
know how he feels about that.
Oh, man.
I don't think we
You
beat
thought Vooch was
Boston.
bad on Twitter. Jalen be going stupid.
I don't think we beat Boston, and maybe the Spurs might be a fight. I'm gonna give the Bulls Philly. I think we should beat Philly, just because James Harden hasn't been consistent this season, and Joel Embiid he's been actually disappointing to me this season. And I think the Bulls should kick a man while he's down.
Without
We
a
should
doubt.
kick him while he's down. So 2-2, possibly 3-1. Maybe I'm just optimistic, but I'm gonna go 2-2 just to be safe.
I'm going to go 2-2 as well. I think we make a win there. I think it's going to be a great, great game. I think 3-1 is best case scenario. I think realistically, we have a better shot. In my personal opinion, I think we have a better shot at beating Boston right now than we really do at beating somebody like Philly. So I will say the 3-1 will come from beating Boston, but that's just me. Before we get out of here, I want to
before we get out of here, let me just give a shout out. I want to start a segment where we do like teams that have been performing out of their minds, and I got to give Utah their flowers. I think people thought Utah was just dead, gone, and buried.
Laurie
And from what I've
Markkinen
been
out
seeing,
here.
Laurie Markkinen has been getting buckets, and Utah has a bunch of young guys that are a bunch of cast-offs that they put on the team together, and they say we gonna show you mofos something.
Exactly.
And Utah has been pooping. I saw them keeping up with Minnesota. I saw them beat the brakes out of Denver. I'm Utah. Shout out to you.
Without a doubt. And I think another one, not a lot of people are even talking about it. Let's talk about Portland. 3-0.
Yeah.
3-0 with Dame
Dollar. Dame Dollar.
Dame heard all the shit talking.
Dame Dollar.
I mean,
he just put up 40 on somebody the other night, didn't he?
I mean, and the man just got his bag, $50 million a year for the next.
Well earned.
Well earned, but damn.
Well earned.
Fleecing the rest of the cap space, but that's not his problem. That's their problem. So,
well, you know what though, you know what, I'm not gonna kill Dame for things that I give other players credit for. Dame wants to stay. He wants to stay loyal to Portland. And he said, hey, you know what? Give me a team. You know, I'm here. I need to check my bag while I'm here, and I'm gonna give you everything I got. I don't think Dame cheats the game at all.
Exactly. And just like we talked about it with Bradley Beal, if you're not gonna put a team around these guys, you got to give them the bag. And
got to.
There's only one way. There's 2 ways. You can give them the bag or you can give them the team, but you can't give them both. Can't give them both. Now, we gave Zach the bag and we gave Zach the team, but now look at this. We ain't got no shooters, and that's a big part of giving a $215 million deal. But you got to do what you got to do for guys like Zach LaVine. You got to do.
But you know what, though? I would think that Zach, after getting paid, will come in and say, okay, the Bulls show me, even regardless if I think I'm 1A or Lamar or DeMar is 1A, hey, I got my bag. The Bulls have shown me that they're dedicated to me, that they're investing in me, they're going all in on me. Let me go all in for this team. So hopefully he can get over whatever knee issues he's been facing and get to the Zach LaVine we know he could be. I mean, man, look, I expect to see 3 All-Stars from the Chicago Bulls, and I'm not changing up from that.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's definitely something right now. It's warranted. It's acceptable. It's something that should be talked about. Billy Donovan just needs to learn how to play with these guys. And I think they need to learn how to play with each other more than anything. But before we get out of here again, really quickly, this is Rob Scott from Rob's 2 Cents. You can find that on all streaming platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all podcasting platforms. I am Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic. We are from the All Sports, All Plays Network. This has been Bullsheet, always brought to you by Bench Mob Chicago. You can find them on benchmob.com or Bench Mob Chicago on all social media platforms. This is Mike Hughes. You're always checking out Rob Scott from Hawaii.
Mike and Rob, baby, this is what we do.
Rob Scott. Hey, I'm putting you on blast. You might not know. I don't even know. How do you say goodbye in Hawaiian?
Aloha.
Aloha. We're gone.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.